Now, former FBI Director James Comey, this is back in 2015, identified a homegrown terror threat. Roll tape.
We have about 1,000 homegrown violent extremist investigations. Then we have another big group of people that we're looking at who we see some contact with foreign terrorists. So you take that 2,000 plus cases, about 300 of them are people who came to the United States as refugees.
I'm going to repeat that. 2,000 cases, activists, about 300 of them came to America as refugees. Joining us now, Daniel Greenfield. He is Shillman Journalism Fellow at the Freedom Center. Daniel, welcome to the program. It's good to see you. From what we just heard there from Comey, this is back in 2015, it seems like we now in America have a situation somewhat similar to the Brits as of right now. What do you say?
We do. In the UK, the numbers are somewhat higher, but nonetheless, we are catching up to it. We have terror investigations in every single state in America, even Alaska and Hawaii. We have a problem that's continuing to grow, and we have 250 people that went to fight in Syria. In the UK, the numbers are higher. Across Europe, it's around 4,200. But still, it means that we're going to be facing a problem on the same scale, and we've already begun to see that.
Do you think we should do something about this, proactively look at those people who have come back from their fight in Syria, do something about them as they're back on these shores? Should we do that?
We absolutely should. We do have the legal framework for it. So in Europe, it's somewhat easier, but in the United States, it's been standard that if somebody enlists to fight in a foreign army, in an enemy force, that is hostile to the United States, he gives up his United States citizenship. We can denaturalize them, and in the past, it was standard procedure. If somebody went to, say, fight for the communists, they were denaturalized. This is something we should be doing. It's something, obviously, that Europe should be doing much more seriously, because a great many of these terrorist incidents that we have, that Europe has, have been ISIS people who already fought for ISIS, people want to go fight for ISIS, and they represent a major threat. Particularly people, once they actually go out there and they fight, they have training, they have experience, they're much more dangerous. The original wave of terror came from jihadists who had fought in Afghanistan. They had some experience, they came back, they committed carnage here, and they were the infrastructure of really the first major wave of terrorism in the United States. Now, Syria is going to produce even more fighters, and even if we defeat ISIS, there's going to be a conflict somewhere else. It's Yemen or it's Libya or anywhere else. It's going to produce a whole range of trained fighters. We're going to come back and kill Americans.
Now,
so we have to do something about this.
Now, what do you make of the president's travel ban, that's what he now calls it, held up in the courts on the grounds that it's a Muslim ban? What do you make of this?
Well, it's always been standard procedure that the president has the constitutional authority to decide who comes to America. There's no such thing as non-discrimination among immigrants. Once somebody is in the United States, then you can't have such restrictions. But outside the United States, it's standard to have these restrictions, and we do have them. We have quotas for people from particular countries. This is standard procedure. We've always had this. If you're in Russia, you have X amount of % chance of coming to America. If you're in China, you have Y% chance. So this is standard. This is a normal constitutional authority, and the president should simply say that the courts have absolutely no ability to overturn a standard presidential power.
All right, Daniel, thanks very much for joining us, sir. You throw some light on this one, and we appreciate it. Daniel, thank you, sir. Thank you.